Hello and welcome to Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen, the talk show that spotlights HR professionals and talks about all things HR. There are 5 levels of leadership. Want to know what they are and how you can utilize them as a leader? Well, today we will do just that. We will learn the 5 levels of leadership and how you can utilize them to become a more effective leader. Joining me today is Malinda Tyson, founder of HR Consulting Services, and we will talk all about those 5 leadership levels today. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you so much.
Well, good. I am so glad you're here on the show.
Thank you for this opportunity.
So glad that you're here. So, you've been in the people development arena for quite some time now.
Yes.
So why don't you share a little bit about your professional journey? I know it's been wide and broad, so tell us a little bit about it.
So sure. So I have been in HR for 20 plus years.
20 plus.
And have ranged from all industries, healthcare, retail, professional services, nonprofit. And so the HR world, trends the same in all those different industries. And started my HR career off as an assistant and have moved my way up through the career paths from being an assistant to a generalist to a manager to a director of, taking through all those curves. And part of that HR leadership and part of going through that journey through my career, the things that I've always loved to do was train people and recruit.
Train people and recruit. Yes.
Yeah. And so currently I do a lot of professional development training, whether it's frontline staff, whether you have leaders, whether you have first-time leaders, executive leaders, coaching. So professional development is very key to any leader, to any employee, to any person as they navigate through their career world.
Okay, wonderful. That is great. Recruitment, training, all of the above. She can do it all. So now this is something you told me that I said, I don't know if I believe this or not, but you told me that you used to teach Chicago style stepping in New York.
In New York.
Who does that? Tell us about it.
So I am originally from Chicago, and I moved to New York for new opportunity, new life to explore the world when I was in my younger age. And so decided to bring a little bit of Chicago to New York. And so I taught Chicago style stepping classes in different venues and arenas in Chicago, in New York.
In New York.
And they're actually still teaching, holding events and holding classes. The New York style, Chicago, New York style steppers, they're in New York.
All right. that is awesome. Step. See, I know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about it. Yeah. So you're now just recently launched a HR consulting firm. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I just recently launched Malinda Tyson Consulting Group, LLC, and actually January 23rd, 2023. So 1/23/23. And so the reason was because I love HR. I love helping people. I have an affinity for assisting and helping small companies, small corporations to get them in compliance. That's my area of strength. And so my idea is to help those organizations become compliant, make sure all of their processes, policies, or procedures are in place, their SOPs, just job descriptions, all those things that as employers, small employers, sometimes you forget, or because you may not have an HR person on site.
Right.
And with the trend of the world with moving into a consulting arena, it just opened up the doors and it just made sense to go ahead and to do it officially. I've been doing it for so long, so now it's official.
Now it's official. Now it is official. That is great. We wish you the best of luck and many blessings. Many blessings on this. So we're going to talk about these leadership levels today.
Yeah.
And so, Malinda, we know that leadership origins started almost, 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
In the Egyptian arena, and then there's hierarchies, and they're still happening now.
Yes.
And there's so many gurus, so many therapists and theorists around leadership.
Yeah.
And so there's one guru though that you want to kind of talk about today.
Yeah.
So who is that?
So it is Dr. John C. Maxwell.
Yes.
So I have been a student of Dr. Maxwell for a long time. I would have to date myself going back to my days when I was in Mary Kay. As a sales director in Mary Kay, we were heavily influenced by John Maxwell. And their teachings and leading teachings and the things that we did. And so and taking that and transitioning and moving into a more corporate environment, I took those levels of leadership and started to do training and facilitate that training from frontline staff to frontline managers, as well as to executive leaders of doing the 5 levels of leadership.
Well, that is awesome. That is wonderful, because we talk about leadership today, and it's just so many ways that we talk about it. You got your transformational leadership. You have your top-down leadership, servant leadership. All of those things happen. So today we're going to talk about the Maxwells, right?
The Maxwell.
5 levels of leadership. Go ahead and tell us what they are.
So those 5 levels of leadership start with permission. Then you move into position, permission, then you move into production, then you move into professional development, and then you move into pinnacle. So those are the 5 levels that John Maxwell teaches.
Okay, so let's talk about each of them briefly. Position, tell us about it.
So position is basically you're a new leader, and so people follow you because they have to.
Yes.
Right?
Because they have to. You're the manager of HR. You're the director of HR. People have to follow you because of your title. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And then the next one is permission. And permission is at that moment when you have received buy-in to where they want to work with you. And so you have received permission as a leader to work with them.
Okay. So position and then permission. That means the people have started to trust you, maybe?
Yes.
Trust you, look at you as a leader, look to you as a person of influence, maybe? So that's permission. So, and then the next one.
Then the next one is production. And that is where you produce results. And that is where, as a leader, you don't coach your team and train your team to where they want to produce and they want to do well for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So production stage. You got the buy-in. They start to formulate and start acting as a team.
Yes.
And then they started thinking about the team in mind.
Exactly.
Operating in excellence, maybe, and doing those things that's going to make the whole team and the leader look good. Production. All right. Give me the next one.
The next one is professional development.
That's your expertise.
And
Tell us about it.
And that is where, as a leader, when you help to produce other leaders. And that is where you take the time and where you help to coach, grow them, give them what they need, and to help them be great and for them to move. And then as you produce other leaders, you teach and you train them how to produce other leaders.
All right. So that's the training piece.
That's the training
That's
piece.
where the leader is coaching, right?
Yes.
Mentoring.
Yes.
All of those 3 together, right? Yeah. They're doing all of those things, and the employees start to trust, right? And then act on that. So let me ask you this. So do the levels of leadership, do they go in that order, particularly in that order? You know,
they don't necessarily go in that order because you could be at a different level with each employee.
Okay, all right.
Because as a leader, your interaction and your level of engagement is different with all of your employees, just based on where they are and where you are with them.
Okay. So as a new leader, you find out that as a new leader, you're coming in fresh, right? And then you're starting to incorporate these 5 levels of leadership. So is there an example for a new leader, which level works best for them, or what way should a new leader
Well, automatically, a new leader will start at the position level.
Okay.
Just because, especially if they're a new level, new leader, new team, new people, they don't necessarily know who you are.
Right.
But however, you should quickly try to get to the permission level.
Yes.
Because that is the level of where your team will get buy-in from you, and they will want to continue to do the work because they want to do it for you, not just because you're my boss and I have to do it.
Right.
Right. And what happens a lot of times with new leaders, some tends to be more of a technical, but not necessarily have those people skills to transition into that role.
Right.
In addition, it may be that they are peers with some of the people that now they have to lead, so that transition can be a little challenging in the beginning.
Well, there you go. You're a peer. You work side by side. You have the same job title. You interview for a position. You become the leader now.
Yes.
So those challenges could be very interesting, right? Now you're telling me what to do, right? So how do you navigate through that? What's your opinion on navigating through that type of scenario?
You know, my coaching and guidance to new leaders when they find themselves in those situations to always be fair.
Always be fair.
Right? Do not play favorites, hold everyone accountable, and have full transparency.
Okay.
You know, so that no one feels like the leader is being favored to one person as opposed to other. And so, if you do those things and transitioning into that role, then you'll have a different light when those individuals work with you and you work with them.
And you work with them. Yeah. Being transparent. And so a way that you do that is just letting everybody know how you're going, what your disposition is going to be up front, right? So they won't have to think about it. They won't have to guess at your disposition, but your disposition is that you're going to be fair, right? You're going to be transparent, and sometimes you're going to have to issue those things that are not so comfortable, right? So you let them know up front.
Expectations,
absolutely,
As a new leader, give them your expectations, hold them accountable, be fair and transparent.
Okay, great. So, what would you say is the definition of an effective leader?
I would say the definition of effective leader is one who you lead by example.
You lead by example.
You cannot ask your team to do something that you're not willing to do.
Right.
The greatest.
I want you to go move this mountain, but I'm going to be in the background somewhere.
I'm going to be sitting on the side telling you what to do.
Right.
But no, you have to be standing there next to them. They have to know that you're in the trenches with them. And that you're able to do it just like they are.
Yeah, just like they are.
Just like they are.
And that collaboration piece is so important. You position yourself as a leader to be collaborative, not the superior to tell you what to do, but collaboration, you know, what they think matter, what they can bring to the table matter.
And
matters, right?
And then you move from that permission to production, right?
Right.
Because now they're going to work for you and to work harder to get things done because they know you walk side by side with them.
Walk side by side. So important, so important. So amongst those levels, is there one level more important to a leader?
I'm going to always say the professional development.
Okay.
You know, the highest calling of a leader is to develop other leaders.
Is to develop other leaders.
As a leader, you cannot be the only one in the room that know everything. When you have a collective thoughts of skills, talents, and people who bring a variety of different things to the table, you succeed more, you grow more, you get more accomplished.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with that. And what was interesting when you talk about sometimes the practitioner goes straight into leadership without any training, without any coaching. So what should a leader of those two new leaders who's becoming that new leader, what should they say or do to help prepare that practitioner going into leadership?
I believe that as a leader, if you are hiring or transitioning a practitioner to a leadership role, then you need to have some sort of training plan, professional development plan immediately in place for that individual, to ensure that those things that they need to transition, that they have access to, whether it's the basic human resource principles of managing people, whether it's the basic principles of how you write a discipline report, whether it's the basic principle of how you communicate to your staff, and those things that they don't necessarily know, but they need to know in order to be great leaders.
One of the things I've done over the years is that I implemented what is called an HR in-service. And that is for new leaders. And what you do is that you go through this in-service and you talk about those things that are important to HR leaders, and you learn it and train on it in that classroom, and you don't run into as many challenges because you've already been exposed to it. So you are so right.
Correct.
Prepare the practitioner for leadership.
That is correct.
Absolutely right. So how would a leader incorporate all these different levels into their daily routine or into their daily regimen? How will we do that?
Well, I think first you need to become familiar with the different levels, and you need to be familiar with what leadership really is. And then you need to develop your own personal development plan.
All right.
Because you have to develop yourself in order to develop other people. But I think the biggest thing is knowing what those levels are and knowing where you are with each person. And one of the trainings that John Maxwell produces, he talks about, as a leader, after you've learned these 5 levels, go back and get a piece of paper and then write down the names of each one of your employees and see where you are
with them. Oh my goodness, that is so good.
And then to determine where you need to move them in those levels of leadership. And then how you either grow yourself or you grow them.
Right. That is wonderful, because every employee is not going to be at the same level.
They are not at the
so,
same
but
level.
it's important for you as a leader to know where that employee is.
Correct.
And then have a game plan for moving them to the new level.
That's
absolutely,
correct.
absolutely.
Engagement is very important with employees for retention, for long-term growth, for so many different things. And so if you know where your people are, you're able to reach and connect with them and to help them get to the next level if they're interested. So how would you say that an employee, well, let's do this, that a leader can measure their own success? How would a leader measure their own success? I think a leader can measure their own success, just to be perfectly honest, metrics.
Data analytics. That's what we talk about daily, in HR. Yes.
Metrics will never go away. Metrics, numbers always tell the story.
And they never lie.
Right. And then you also can measure that success by the number of people that you have helped develop, grow, and have promoted. Right. To the next level, whether it's internally or externally. The great sign of a leader is developing people, whether they stay within your company or whether they leave.
Go out.
And so I would say that, those are probably, 2 things that's right off the point, that's visually that you can say that measures a leader.
Measuring yourself, and do a self-assessment. Do a self-assessment. Sometimes you can be in leadership in so long, and things have changed, people have changed, organizations have changed. You got to do that checkup and be honest and be transparent with yourself, because no one's perfect. And there's always room for improvement, always room for growth.
The industry has changed so much of how we engage, how we interact, how we look at social, political, all the environmental factors, of how we work with people, connect. And so as a leader, you can't stay stagnant.
Right.
You have to grow and you have to be different.
And so the way you do that is becoming that person that never stops learning. Lifelong learners, right? You're never too big to learn, because it's always there, right?
Always learning and always giving, yes.
Always giving. That is a good point.
Yeah.
Always giving, and love what you do.
Yes,
love what you
do.
So what are some new trends? You see any new trends in leadership?
Well, I think, I think what happened, with COVID
Yeah.
and, with the change in how we manage people, I think leaders had to come down.
Yeah.
And leaders have had to get next and close to employees and to learn employees and to learn what's going on. So leadership is no longer hierarchy here. I think leadership is more here now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not those distances between, or those different levels between employees and organizations. Leaders definitely have to be more people facing, more front facing, more connected.
Yes.
And embracing the challenges.
Yes.
Being transparent and being very open to what employees are going through.
Yes.
We now cannot just say this is just business and I don't want to know what you're going through personally at home because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We can't be that leader anymore.
Not that leader anymore.
You have to, have some level of empathy.
Yes.
And concern for employees and people.
Well, if you're gonna work with people, you're gonna have to have some concern, right?
Yeah.
For them. That is so true.
Yeah.
People really do take to how you treat them, right? And how you feel about them. People can sense when, there's not that connection there. So that is one of the best ways that we can become effective leaders.
Yes.
One of those best ways we can become. All right, we talked about the 5 levels of leadership. Take note, give it to us one more time. Number 1.
Number 1 is position.
Position, right? Position. Your title, who you are. 2.
Number 2 is permission.
Permission. Giving permission to be the leader and your people buying into it, right?
Exactly.
3.
Production.
Production. Hey, you're the outstanding team of the year, right? You're all working together to make things happen. 4.
Professional development.
Professional development. Learn how to be the best that you can be, and there's no stopping that. And 5.
And 5 is pinnacle.
Pinnacle. Talk about it.
So the 5th level is pinnacle, and that is respect.
Yes.
When people will follow you, and you can lead them just because they respect you because of what you've done for them, what you've done for them, and what you've done for them, and what they've done for you, as well as their level of leadership, who they are, what they have given, and what they provide. So I think everyone is trying to reach pinnacle. I don't think none of us, we've all made it there. But pinnacle is the top. But, we all have a level of respect to where people, respect us and, they will do things for us. But that's the 5th, the pinnacle.
Pinnacle is it. That's where you want to be as a leader. This has been great. Thank you so much, Malinda, for coming by, sharing your expertise on leadership and the 5 leadership levels of Maxwell.
Yes.
This has been great. And now we'll switch to our HR Go-Getter for March 2023. The HR Go-Getter for March 2023 is Maria Rodriguez. She is a University of Memphis MBA student, and she's currently an intern at Total Rewards team, on the Total Rewards team for ALSAC St. Jude. She has been in the profession, in an HR profession, for a year and a half. So when asked why she loves the profession, she says this: I love to be an HR professional because we are the people who make things better within the organization. HR functions go beyond hiring and firing people, but we promote healthy environments, create better workplaces, and handle conflict resolution. We are the most strategic partner in an organization. Thank you so much, Maria. You are the HR Go-Getter, March 2023. It has been said that everything rises and falls with leadership. And we've had a wonderful discussion surrounding the 5 levels of leadership. I hope you were able to identify ways to incorporate these levels into your daily leadership regimen. Exceptional leadership requires continuous learning and sometimes tweaking to build the trust needed and for you to become the leading light employees and workplaces aspire to have today. Be sure to watch Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen the first of every month on the YouTube channel of the same name. Please note, you can watch Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen and prior episodes at any time. Go to the YouTube channel and type in the talk show title. Be sure to subscribe, no fee, and click on the notification bell. This is HR TV. I'm Dr. Deneen, and I want to talk HR with you. HR forever. See you next time.